Alright, what's up guys? It's Jeffrey back with another weekly technicals video, and I haven't talked to you guys in a few days now, and that's just mainly been because I've been getting a lot of stuff done for my different groups. So let's go ahead and start off with the dollar index, and if we look on a weekly time frame, we've been in the same consolidation that we've been talking about for a while now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 12 weeks, so basically 3 months, we've been in this range right here. So we can outline that. All right, and I'm going to delete this box. I'm just using it to illustrate where we're trading. So we've been trading within this range for 3 months basically. And now price looks like it's wanting to expand higher, and we know that based off of what we got from last week's price action. So we've closed bullish, and to me it just looks like this high and this high are now in jeopardy in terms of where stop orders are resting. So I think the market's going to want to trade higher now before trading any lower. So we seem to have found some solid support at this weekly ICT bullish order block. And in terms of the upside, I'm going to be watching this candle here. So that is from 91.20 all the way up to 92.80. Alright. Actually, it's going to be 91 big figure to 92.80. So that will be this whole weekly candle, which is an ICT breaker, and that would also take us above these stops, well, this high, and that's clearing up the stops that are in there. So I'm going to delete this box here, and this is what I'm looking for in terms of upside objective. So we could find weakness and then want to trade lower from here because this is within a weekly time frame and we are still overall bearish, so we are due for a little bit of a retracement before a continuation lower in terms of price action. So if we draw our fib from this high to this low, we also get our 61.8, 70.5, and 79 just above this ICT breaker, and some within in terms of entry levels. And if you look, 70.5 is within this ICT breaker, also a fib level and the low of this ICT bearish order block. So the fact that we have multiple things lining up with this specific level, 92.50, we could get a push up into that and then further continuation lower. So what that would look like would be something like this. Push up into 70.5, and again, this is a weekly time frame, so you know this is a longer term scenario, but we're mapping out what we see unfolding over the future. So now that we've gotten a little bit of bullish price action, I think that we're going to have, you know, a bullish week or a couple of weeks at least up until we get into this level. Now, this idea of it trading higher is going to be completely off if we trade below last week's low. Okay, so last week's low coming in at 89.23. If we trade below 89.23, then I'm expecting dollar index to want to continue lower and take out this low at 88.30. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to take this off, and just want to keep these levels on my chart. Okay. Alright, let's drop down to a daily. Alright, so in terms of the daily, we know that we're within this range still. Alright, so until we have a clear breakout, again, it's hard to get a defined direction. But if we look at price action and try to understand what it's telling us, this is what I see. So I see a low. And I've been talking about this in multiple weekly technicals videos, so go back and watch the previous ones and you can see that we've been talking about dollar index in this consolidation and the fact that we're forming both higher highs and higher lows as well as lower lows and lower highs, which just indicates a consolidation. But based off of the higher time frame, the weekly, we had a strong bullish candle, as well as if we drop on the daily, we see higher lows forming. Okay, so we got a low, high, higher low, high. We haven't broke this high, but in terms of price action, we are forming higher lows, right? As well as if we were going to continue bearish, we should have broken this low. We didn't break the low. We actually just traded into, I believe, the 79% retracement level. Yep, hit the 79% retracement level, and then we've traded higher. So we actually had a break in market structure on the dollar index once we broke above this high. And that high came in at 89.96. Alright. So we had a low, high, lower low was formed, so we should have just made a higher low, a lower high, and then another lower low. Well, we never did that. We pushed up higher, broke market structure because we broke above this high and formed a higher high. So now we've got high, low, higher high, expect a retest of this, and then continuation higher. That's what I see unfolding in terms of dollar index. So push down into there. Let's make this bigger. And then from there, obviously we'd want to see our bullish price action. So we'd want to see a high form, then a higher low, then a break in market structure. So we'd want to see this exact thing unfold at or near this level here. And keep in mind, we could just push up higher from here because we've been in a consolidation so long, they can just start pushing this thing up really aggressively. And that's okay. If we get that, then obviously we're going to have weakness in foreign currency and plenty of opportunity to work with that. So bullish price action, I want to see a retest of the break in market structure if we get this unfolding, and then continuation higher. So yeah, we're just going to be looking for this exact scenario to unfold here. So let me delete these. Alright, so potential retest of this and then continuation higher, or we could just continue breaking higher. If we do break this low here, so that's the same low that we were talking about on the weekly, 89.24. Actually, I have to make sure this is visible. Alright. Okay, so there we go. And then let me delete these. Alright. So retest of this structure is obviously a good potential entry point, but I mean, again, I don't trade the dollar index. If I mark my fib out from this low to this high, the Fibonacci retracement levels, we got the 61.8, 70.5, and 79. So this is the lowest retracement that I would expect, and we could just be getting that unfold just like we've seen within this swing here. We got to pull back down all the way into 79%, and then we push higher. So that could be the same exact scenario that we get unfold here, but until price action develops further, we don't really have a clear understanding of what it's going to do. But in my opinion, I think we're going to get a pullback down into this market structure break here, potentially down into these levels here, 89.50 to 89.70, and then start pushing higher and break above this 91 big figure, back up into this ICT bearish order block here, which should be on our chart as well. Okay, there we go. So now we know that this gray box is the weekly ICT bearish breaker. So that is obviously going to be resistance, and that is also above these highs here, which takes us above the consolidation, and we are expecting higher prices. So a retest here, and if we can get foreign currencies, so GBP USD or Euro USD, to be trading into support, resistance at that time, and get a break in market structure, then we can look to short that, because obviously we would expect dollar index to go higher. And if we have supporting technicals within the major that we're trading, then that would be a pretty good trade setup. So let's break it down to the 4-hour. And we do have these equal highs up here, which I've been mentioning as well. Whoa. Alright, so that comes in at 90.60. Let me actually draw a trend line there. Okay. Alright, so 90.60, next upside objective in terms of the 4-hour time frame, and then we're going to be shooting for that 91 big figure and break out of this consolidation. And as soon as we get that, I think we're going to have some really nice moves. As you can see, though, we are already pushing up really strong, so I don't think it's going to waste any time, and I think we're just going to continue pushing higher. If you look, that blue line that we drew out on the daily in terms of the break of market structure, we actually got the retest already on the 4-hour. So we broke above it, we consolidated for 8, 12 hours, and then we pushed above it, and we've been trading higher. So if this level of consolidation here holds as support, then dollar index could just want to continue pushing higher. So we could draw that low to high out, and if that holds, then obviously we're just going to start trading higher, which should send foreign currency weaker. And if we get trending moves in the dollar index, we should also expect trending moves in the majors as well. So we'll see if we find some support here and then continue higher, or are we going to get another retest back up into this daily market structure level. So let's drop down to the hourly and see if we see anything. As you can see, the week closed, it traded down right into this level, and then we got a gap open, market open, and so far we've just been holding that. So we'll see what we get. But I think this is going to go higher for this week. I think we're going to get a stronger dollar index. So let's take a look at Euro USD. Let's start with the weekly on here. And this thing is just super ugly on the weekly as well. So this is completely opposite of dollar index. Again, we had a bearish close, been within this consolidation. Looks to me like it's going to want to go lower. We were expecting higher prices, but just with the price action that we're getting, it's still hard to tell until we break out of the consolidation. But in terms of where we're going, I think they're going to want to go lower first. So where would they possibly want to go into? Well, inverse of the dollar index would be this here. This is an ICT bullish breaker, and that could be the next downside level in terms of the weekly time frame. So let's take a look at a daily. And if you look within that gray box, we have this here, which is an ICT bullish order block. And that is going to be my next downside objective. Let me actually delete that. And the high comes in at 120.83. Alright, so downside objective, that's where I think we're going next. If you look as well, inverse to the dollar index, we've had high, lower high, breakdown, broke this market structure, and we could be getting a retest of that early on in the week, and then a continuation lower. And that low comes in at 22.99, so we'll just do 23, and we'll actually map out the whole candle, because that whole candle could act as resistance, and we could get a trade. Keep in mind that we could form a wick on a daily, but on an hourly time frame it's going to be multiple candles trading up into it, but it could just be a daily candle forming the wick and then trading lower. And since we're based on the idea of the daily time frame, we need to consider the fact that when we're on a lower time frame, the pattern we could be seeing is just the wick of the daily candle forming. So a break of this low here would confirm to me that the sellers have stepped in the market. So that low is 22.15. And then from there, obviously, I'm going to be expecting each swing low to be broken. So this one here, that comes in at 21.54. And then down into our level here on the daily, which is 20.83. So those are the next three downside objectives for Euro USD. In terms of the best sell scenario, I'd like to see a trade up into ideally this blue line, which is the low of this ICT bearish breaker. And if I can get a push up into that, then I'd be looking for continuation lower into these levels. And this could be a solid buy setup once we trade into here, but we would just have to see the price action that we get that's unfolding. So in terms of selling this, I would make sure that my stop loss is above this high. If I was trading like for a swing trade or something, my stop loss would be above here. If we do break above this, that's going to indicate that we're going to want to go back up into that 25 that we've been talking about the past few weeks. So that's what I see if we get back up here. But I don't see them coming back above this candle since we've got that breakdown last week. Unless they find support at this ICT bullish order block. It's so hard when it's in a consolidation because we don't have any clear direction. It's just moving completely sideways. But I think they're going to want to take it lower. So we're still going to wait for our trade to set up before just entering, but we're just framing our idea. So if we look at a 4-hour time frame, again, this is the low that we're waiting for it to break to confirm that the sellers have stepped in. We have inverse of the dollar. You could see that Friday we traded back, we broke below this support, traded back up into it, and have since on market open gapped lower and found resistance here so far. So yeah, that's what we're waiting for, this low here, 22.15. That'll confirm that they've stepped in, that the sellers have stepped in. Alright, GBP USD. If we look at this on the weekly, we've traded into actually a monthly resistance level. So if you look on a monthly time frame and you do swing high to swing low, we've just traded into the 79% retracement level, this ICT bearish order block here, and we've rejected so far. So I don't necessarily think cable is bearish yet, but we just have to watch and see if we're going to break below this low here, which would confirm that we have a break in market structure on a weekly time frame, and they're going to want to take it lower. So that's 37,117. Alright, and if we get a break below this, then it's going to be obvious that the sellers have stepped in, and then we would have to be looking for bearish. We'd be looking for sells in GBP USD. So at the moment, last week's candle being so bearish like this confirms this candle here as an ICT bearish order block. So we could get a retest of this and then a continuation lower. So we could see something like this, and then start pushing lower from there. If we do get the stronger dollar, that is going to be what I'm looking for. So let's drop to a daily here. You can see that we've had, significant retracement on GBP USD. This is also because of the fact that we've had such strong up movement in Euro GBP that we've had, that reflected in consolidation with Euro dollar and a nice sell-off in GBP USD. So if we break this low here at 39.65 on a daily, that would break market structure, and yeah, we could see a sell scenario happen around this level here. So again, that would look very similar to what we were looking at in terms of the weekly, but we would just be looking for a breakthrough, a retest, and continuation. So instead of waiting until it gets all the way down here by dropping down to a lower time frame like the daily, we can potentially get our trade on here and look for a continuation to enter again on the break of this, if it's still confirming bearish price action. Just trying to see if I see anything on the lower time frame. Now, whenever cable did trade lower on Friday, we did get these equal highs formed. So I don't know, are they going to want to take it all the way back up here? So far we've just been forming high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, potential lower high, then a lower low. But if we push all the way back up into here, I think they're going to start taking it higher again. But if they don't, if they just keep dropping it, obviously I think we're going to go lower. But this can hold in the market for a bit. They don't have to come back and take it up right away. It just depends on how many people sold short here, and what they're trying to do. But to me, I think the next stop is going to be below here. So I think that's what we're going to be getting. As long as we keep finding resistance within this hourly ICT bearish order block, we should just continue lower and make a lower low and continue forming bearish price action. So let's look at Euro GBP real quick. And you can see this is obviously why we've had such a strong rejection in cable. We've had significant push up in Euro GBP. And we haven't quite closed above this high, necessarily breaking market structure. So this could continue lower, which would in turn send cable higher again. But we obviously have all these scenarios marked out in our journal and need to be watching out for them. But this this has been trading higher, so we've been getting a really weak cable because of that. Let's take a look at a 4-hour and see if we can see anything. Yeah, I mean, these strong pushes up like this definitely look like buyers are stepping in, but they don't necessarily have to, be putting on their whole position at these levels. They can push it lower because they're working with a lot bigger accounts, and they have a lot more money, so they could push this lower and then buy at an even cheaper price if they're looking to buy more of this or something like that. But I do see indication of buyers stepping in the marketplace because we do have a break of market structure here. We've traded above this. We're finding some support at this high here, and I think we're going to start trading higher. So I'm going to keep an eye on this, but we do have ECB this week, ECB press conference for Euro at 5:30 a.m. on Thursday. So that could lead us to getting strong movement in Euro USD as well as Euro GBP. So I don't know if that's going to be the what we need for Euro to push up higher, but we do have a lot of Euro dollar news this week. So since cable has been the one that's been moving so much, Euro dollar could be the one that starts moving a lot this week. But that's it for this weekly technicals, guys. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you subscribe so you never miss a video. And as well as leave a like on this video if you found some value in it and it helped you out. And if you have any questions, just leave a comment below and I'll get back to you, pretty much right away. The notifications come up on all my technology devices. So see you guys in the next video.